Afternoon. Yeah, it is afternoon. Afternoon, everybody. I'm Steve. I'm the director. Ha ha. Anyway, we're going to introduce Gene Perryman. A lot of you don't know him real well, but he has been a member for quite a while, but he's been really busy doing other things. Gene moved here from Wisconsin 17 years ago, and shortly after he joined the club, his wife gave him an inexpensive lathe that he bought in Wisconsin. Gene was very active in the club until about 3 years ago, and when he took on a commitment that has taken up a lot of his time. Gene says he is one more year to go and will be back full-time in the club. We anxiously await that day. Today, Gene is going to demonstrate enhancing your wood, turning with copper and other items. Let's give him a great warm welcome. Anyway, Gene.
Now? All right. I was very active. I made all the meetings, all the sales, everything. I didn't know anything about turning. Nothing. I went out to a gentleman. There was a man that was in our club. His name was Ed Jones. He was a member of the National Segmentalist. And if I am correct, and Roger or somebody might say I'm wrong, but I believe he won the National Segmentalist twice. That's what kind of segmentalist he was. He made some of the most ungodly pieces you ever seen. So here I am, not knowing nothing. Go out there, he takes a piece of wood and zip, 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 zip. Lays out a piece of tape. Perfect. Well, this poor hick from Oklahoma, I can do that. I tried everything under the sun to do it. Bought a gauge for my saw, made sure it was flat. Nah, didn't work. So one of the things with Mr. Jones, we always went out to his place pretty much. Had a nice big shop, and he made a lot of sawdust. So to go out there and clean up his place Monday afternoon, and that way we'd have our Tuesday morning meetings out there. So one day, Monday, he had 3 5-gallon buckets full of wood. And I asked him what to do with them. He said, throw them in the garbage. Okay, I'll take them home. Fine, I'll bring you buckets back tomorrow. Well, in my job that I used to have before I came here was problem solving. Take a problem, fix it, go to plan B. Well, that's what I did. I cut up pieces of wood that he gave me. Now here's a piece of wood, came from somebody in here. This is the corner. That's what it looks like to everybody else. This is what it looked like to me. This piece right here is the beginning. This is not exaggerated. Can you see that? Yeah. That's not exaggerated. That's how the other 3 rows or 2 rows were. That's how I put this stuff together. Well, I made yarn bows, a lot of them. Well, I took one of them out to Ed's one day, or one Tuesday. I showed it to him. He said it wasn't segmentaling. So, I looked it up in the dictionary. Ed didn't talk to me a whole lot after that. Another thing happened was the AAW had their symposium in Phoenix. So I went. And I took some of my bows, one of them being a yarn bow. I took 3 bows. Well, a very well-known artist, or woodturner, was looking them all over and telling everybody, well, this looks good and that looks good. And he comes up to my yarn bow and he picks it up and he looks around it and he looks around it. Well, the guy that was with him was with the national segmentalist. He gives it to him. You better take care of this. So he looks it over. Whose bow is this? Mine. Come here. This is wrong, that's wrong. You got end grain, the side grain, you got pieces coming together. This thing won't hold up. Well, I have one yarn bow in particular that a lady helped me develop when I was doing my yarn bow. It has made 3 trips around the world, and it's still a singing. So don't listen to everything they tell you. This piece of wood, any of you out there would probably take that piece of wood, throw it in your garbage, or use it for kindling. That's what I do with it. You can see I don't throw anything away. I make something out of it. I got another one the same way, but I will go basket. So anyway, we're out at Ed's doing this. Well, one of the things that Ed had, there was a guy came out there that used to be in the club. Some of you may remember him. He was going to show us how to use copper. Well, he had a couple of plastic tubs and some stuff, and he pours this in one of the tubs, and he takes a piece of copper and he does some stuff on it and he drops it down in there. It starts smoking. I only took 1 semester of chemistry. I went to backing up. I don't remember what that was, but I know it ain't good for you. So anyway, he did this, and that, and after he's all done, I kind of like the idea, but I ain't doing that. So I come up with plan B, like normal. Now these pieces are some of my original pieces. This one's 14 years old, no, 13, 14 years. So these are very early pieces, yeah, both of them. So don't look at the quality of the turning. What I'm wanting you to look at is the copper. Now, what I did is I went home. Just happened to be there was a plumber in our association doing some work. And I bought a few pieces of copper off of him. We're talking plain old, everyday copper pipe. Now, this piece of copper pipe here is schedule 40. It's got a thick wall, which I'll get back to in a little while. This is regular old, everyday, go to Home Depot, pick it up, it comes in a coil. So it's this piece. This is waterline pipe that they use a lot of times on your refrigerators and so on and so forth. Taken the tempering out of this one. I haven't taken the tempering out of this one. You can hear the difference. Suggestion to you. If you want to do this, take my advice, take the tempering out before you start trying to cut it in half. Because you'll go through a few grinding stones trying to get it apart. Sir?
How do you do that? How do you take the temper out?
Very simple, which is I'm going to show you in just a minute. Because you can hear This one I've messed with. I've already cut it almost in half. There's one thing about copper, especially these pipes. You do anything. You bend it, you beat on it, you do something with it, you put the tempering back in it. It automatically comes back. You can still hear most of it's gone. I haven't taken all of this out, but this is all there is to it. You probably can't see it, but it's turning colors as you go down through it. If you can see on the back side, see the colors it's making? It's taking and getting it hot. You really won't see it turn what's called red hot. Just don't touch it. Trust me. Now if you're doing Schedule 40, the big piece of pipe there, it'll take you a while to get it, the tempering out of it. Now since I've already taken most of this one out, I'm not going to take your time to sit there and go over it. This piece here, I've already taken the tempering out. I've already split it. You'll see it just bends real easy. You just work it apart. I should have dropped this before I picked this up. Now I've got 3 hammers over here I use. When I'm doing this or getting started, I'm using just, I think this is just a mallet as I always called it. It's just flat, both ends. Try to work the edge because you've got that roll. Can you already hear it? Hear the tempering already back in it? Not bad, but it's there. You got to have it soft. Now, I don't use a rock, but that's the only thing I couldn't bring my driveway, so I brought a rock. Now, while that kind of cools there for just a second, there's a number of ways you can do this. It's according to what hammer you use. I've got a ball peen. And then I call this a penning hammer, or hammer. Tacking hammer, I guess you want to call it, or whatever. But it's got a nice little point on the end. Let's just talk about this one. Here. Probably can't see it, can they? I'll pass it around. But anyway, you can take this pinning hammer and beat the heck out of it. And you make all kinds of dimples in it. But what you can do is you can take this piece, put some oil. I don't care what it is, motor oil, 3-in-1 oil, any kind of oil. Just rub it on there. On the back side, burn it. That oil will catch fire and burn. If you noticed on those pieces that went around, you see the black? That's oil. That's left over from oil. Then when you take a piece of steel wool and you start cleaning it, you just barely clean it, you'll just get the top pieces. The more you rub it, the harder you rub it, the more copper will come up. You can rub all the black off you want, but if you leave some of it in the background, it'll look like what those pieces were. Now on the back side of this one, you can see where I was using the concrete floor. So you can do whichever way you want to do it. Experiment. While that piece is going around, I'm going to hit, this is a strip. This is a piece off of a long piece. In fact, it come off of this one right here, which I'll show you in a minute. And you can see this has got all the tempering out of it. You could tighten a knot if you want to. This is what that piece will look like when I'm done. On the end of it down here are some dots, which I'll show in a minute too. You can do all kinds of stuff. Now here's one that I beat the heck out of it on the concrete, but I didn't put any oil on it, and then I cleaned it off. On the back side, you can see the dimples and stuff from a ball peen hammer. Again, you could put oil on here, burn it, and the low spots would be black, the high spots would be copper. Now, this is the piece that I just split, or finished splitting, and then I burned it. Like I said, the only thing I do is I put it on a rock. I'm going to use the ball peen on this one. Find a good rough spot. Right there's a good spot. Ah. Something always happens in a demo, doesn't it? Oh well, that's enough of that. Okay. Now, a minute ago I could bend this. Now it's hard for me to bend back. I took all the tempering, or I put tempering back in it. Now, this is the side I had down on this. This is the side I had on the stone. Again, sir, steel wool. I use two different ones, a coarse and a fine. I think this is, well, one of them is 3/0 and one of them is not. Don't know which way they go. They're in a package. I just go by what I pick up. But anyway, if I would have took oil and put on the back side of that, or on the rough side that's nice and shiny, and then burned it, then took real fine steel wool. After I put it on my piece and barely went around it, it would look like those pieces that went around. Okay? But like I said, I don't use the rock, I use my driveway. I heard that. Okay, I showed you that one piece had some spots on it. This is schedule 40. It's thicker. It's a little bit more of a mess. Takes a little bit more heat to get the tempering out of it. Split it, so on and so forth. But there's advantage to it instead of using plain old everyday water pipe. Because it is thicker, and you drill a hole in it, it gives you more thickness to glue to. Okay? Now, if you would decide to do this, nothing else, put a row down the middle. Put 2 rows on it. It doesn't make me, that's up to you. Don't do that and then try to bend it. In other words, this piece here is ready to go in. If I wanted to put a row or 2 or a pattern, I'd go ahead and put it on my piece, put my top on it, it's all done. You can go ahead and drill your holes if you want. Make sure your tempering's out of it. But put it on your piece, then go back and do your dots. Here's one other thing. If you take, and this one right here, you'll notice that the dots are dull. I did it on purpose. But if you take steel wool and try to clean off your copper, and you do your dots, it makes them look dull. Where this one, I clean the copper and then put the dots on it. And you'll be able to tell the difference between these 2 pieces. This is schedule 40. This is plain old everyday water pipe.
What did you put the dots on with?
That's what I'm getting ready to show you. You're getting ahead of me. Okay, I'm not going to do anything special here. That's still a little warm. Time out. I thought I almost forgot something. When you do dots or something like that, tape the back side, because this is not smooth. So you put epoxy or something in there, it's going to run out, or it's going to glue to whatever you got it setting on. Now, plain old everyday epoxy. A trick I learned a long time ago. You try to mix up epoxy unless you're mixing up a whole bunch of it. This being 5 minutes, you don't have much time to work on anything, right? Cap. Another thing I come up with. Huh? you know what? The man that I had that was supplying me passed away, and I've been bumming caps. But I haven't been using many, so I'm okay. I ordered this mica powder, which is really nice, and it's got like every color that you can just about max, and then you can mix it. So, another little trick, if you take, I buy these things by the gross, use them for all kinds of stuff. They make good spacers too. They make good stir sticks, what they are. But if you take and try to drop a drop onto there by using this big end, you're going to make one heck of a mess. So take the stick and cut it down to where it's almost a point. You see that? Okay. About 15 times too much, but whatever. Okay, what color did we pick up here? Oh, pure red. Cool. I mean, this has got red, purple, blue, green. It gets everywhere. I didn't make it very bright. I don't know if you can see the holes, can you? You probably not. But anyway, you take the sharp end, kind of twirl it around, just a dot. Yeah, I didn't make it dark enough red. Sorry about that. So you got a drip on the bottom. And when you pull it off, pull up the middle, because if you just pull it over, that string will fall off over on your part. Nice thing about this, you're done, goes in the trash. Don't take it off for a while. I don't know if you can. Can you see it halfway decent? Huh? Yeah, you can kind of see it. Let it sit for a few minutes. Let it dry. Okay, we'll go to the next play. All right, let's go to this one. This is a piece that I'm going to use to make another bowl. Okay? This is what this piece started out with. Okay? I cut it off, and that one piece I went around was the edge that I cut off. Now, you can see on the back side, I've cleaned off some of it. I didn't put oil on it because I wanted to show you the other end too. But I could have put oil in there, and I probably will when I make my next bowl. But here's the other part I want to show you. Can you see this? See the coloring? You can make it colors. All you do is take that torch heat it. Well, let's do it. Let's just do it. Do it. Where's the easiest place for me to do this? Right there? Let me black it off. Okay. You see how the colors will run across there? See, if you just barely put a little heat on it, you'll get more darker purple. There's a good one. There's a good one. You just have to play with it a little bit. You're not going to hurt it. There's another good one. Could you see that? But that's what you can do with it. And if you take cut your strip and sit there and put that, and if you put lacquer on it, your color will stay. Your color will stay on there. So that's what you can do with it. Nope, not dry.
Hey, Gene. Hey, Gene. Is there a reason why you use that gas versus the MAP gas, which is hotter? Do you try to keep it not as hot as it possibly can get?
Well, what's nice about this and the spare bottle I have, or the spare bottles, a man passed away and his wife gave them to me. Yeah, he was one of these guys that when he went to the store and bought something, like if he was working on his irrigation, you know, I just need one or two little fittings, he'd buy a whole package. I mean, instead of getting one or two pieces, he'd come home with 5 or 6, half a dozen.
So was he a relative of Mark?
Not that I know of. Was that a cut down? Oh, okay. Well, then they're giving me some relief. So anyway, let's say though that you didn't want any dings in it. I've done that. But you've got to start out with a nice strip of copper. Be real careful about pulling it apart and keeping your tool marks up to the top. Be careful about pounding it out. That's where this comes in, a block of wood. Be real soft with it. Cut your strip out that you want. Put it in your bowl. And then you can just have a bright piece of copper. And I've done that. I've taken 1/4 inch strip down. I made a nice big vase. That vase is sitting in Wisconsin, Waukesha, Wisconsin right now at the Wells Fargo office. Made out of Arizona walnut and 3 pieces of this put in layers. 3 places. I can play with 1/4 inch just as easy as I can do this. One bowl that's 13 inches in diameter and it has a 2-inch strip in it. So again, you're just go nuts here.
Hey, Gene, tell him what happens if you don't put lacquer on it.
One, it'll change colors. It's basically with the humidity, if you get some humidity and everything, it'll be patina green.
Like the Statue of Liberty.
I mean, if you want it patina green, it'll get there.
I have another question.
I can't see what this
One of
like.
the reasons that you might be changing color, just a thought, is using steel wool instead of bronze wool. Now, when you use steel on copper, you are leaving minute amounts of steel on the copper. And in the presence of moisture, you end up with galvanic action. Naturally, it's a galvanic couple. So, if you're really trying to make a pristine piece, you might want to invest in a couple bucks in bronze wool.
I've thought of that, but here again, I've got like 4 or 5 boxes of this. I haven't. I'm going to pass this around. As you pass it around, it's still a little sticky. You can look at it. Just grab hold of the end of it. Don't put your thumb in the middle of it. Okay, it's cooled off. But here's, like I said, this is what I start out with. When I take this piece of copper pipe and finish cutting it out, spreading it out, beat it out, that'll be the makings of my next bowl. Here, throw that one around there. Be careful with that one. It may have a couple of sharp edges on it somewhere. Okay. We're moving along. Like I said, this is what this one looked like to start with. And I didn't exaggerate, so on and so forth. This is the rough one. Now, I put 3 rows on here, and I cut the top row back. Okay? Now I have a parting tool. It's made out of a very, very, very old butcher knife, a big one, that I've cut the end of it off, and I've fixed the end of it so I can make a knot. I'll use this. All the way around that is a groove. You can, I guess you can't that because it's bent. You can see I can stick that down in there. All the way around. That groove goes all the way around it. I made this off on a piece of plywood, paper underneath it, so on and so forth, so I could take it off. It's the same diameter, same run, same everything. That groove lines up with that groove. And like I said, I took that piece of copper like you've got going around, measured it, gave myself about 1/8 of an inch. Because I know good and well I'm not going to cut it. You can't add to the copper. You can take it off, but you can't put it back on. Then I took and got my piece already like I want it. Very high-tech piece of equipment, so be careful here. You see it sits in there. Right there is the seam where it goes together. The seam is the hardest part. Like I said, I leave it a little bit long. Take a plain old everyday file a little bit off, put it together. File a little bit off, put it together. Until you get that seam to where it fits together, just like that. Now, at the same time I've made this piece. Looks like I've got a... Put it all glued together. There's your bowl. Glue it all down. Put it back in here. Finish this off. Sand it off. The little edges along here, go real careful with a tool. Just round that edge off. Don't hit your copper. You hit your copper with a piece of tool, you got this great big gouge. Then take your steel wool or brass wool. Start cleaning this down to the point where you want it. You want it real bright, more sanded. You want just a little bit, that's up to you. That's your call. But this bowl will be like that one that just went around.
Gene, why don't you explain, when you get done with the copper part, how you glue up the rings?
You had to bring that up, didn't you? Okay, let's talk back history. I developed, I guess, bad reputation when I was working in the club real heavy. I had or still have a tendency to turn stuff nobody else would touch. Wayne, you're back there. One of Wayne's relatives brought him a piece of wood. Wayne had, I don't know if he still has it or not, but very nice lathe, big one. He puts it on there. It won't stay. Well, he brings it to me. I think I put 13 pounds of steel on one side to get it to turn. I got it to turn and give it back to him. I said, I don't know what relative this come from, but I said I'd be questioning, you know. But guys in the club back then got to where they would bring pieces, and they would dare me to turn it. Now, back a long time ago, we had a professional come in, and he did what was called a wing bow. Now, everybody's seen wing bows. Well, I sit there and watched him. Fine. I go home. I dig in my junk. That looked like a chicken wing. That's my wing bow.
Chicken wing bowl.
But I have a piece that I'm going to call my next wing bow. As soon as I get time, this is my next wing bow. And this is staying. Don't ask me just how yet, but I'm just going to do it. It'll have to go, I'm going to have to lose a lot of this over here. But most of this is going to stay. Now that's some of the stuff I did. Right, Mr. Frank?
You haven't explained my question.
How you glue up the segmented pieces.
Do what?
How you glue up the segmented pieces.
Oh, the segmental pieces. That's no problem. Shoot, that's easy. Here's the other piece that somebody gave me. This is the other corner after I got done with it. I've demoed this twice, I think. And one time I had a big pile of this stuff, all different shapes, size, descriptions, colors, type, sitting there. Miss Armstrong come up, she'd reach over, she'd go through the pile. I want to see you put that piece on. See you do this piece, this piece. I have a 12-inch disc sender. I take a piece, like let's say this one. This is a good starter piece. I grind off one flat spot. My base is square. I lay it down, grind that flat off, lay it down, hit the end of it, turn it around, hit the other end of it, glue it down. I grab another piece. Okay, this is the bottom. Do the bottom, one end, the other end. Now what I would do is I would grind that at a little bit of an angle and be on there. Let's do this one. Same way. Bottom, two sides. Still not going very fast, is it? That's it in a nutshell. I've got enough of these pieces and parts to probably fill a two 5-gallon buckets. And it's got every kind of piece of wood that you'd think of. Like I said, all I have to do is like this one here, sand a little extra off the corner. Sand a little extra off the corners so it makes more of a turn. But I'd probably took a little bit off of both sides of this one so it makes a turn. The first thing I know, I'm going around in a circle.
Gene, getting back to your rings, to the putting the copper around your bowl, you've demonstrated two things here. First of all, is putting little dots of epoxy on your work, and then the second is putting oxidized coloration on your rings, and then you suggested putting lacquer on it. Now, do you do that after you've bent that ring to its near net shape and you've established the butt joint, and then do you take it apart and then apply your dots and
No.
and then you
No.
spray your lacquer? Or I guess what I'm saying is when you bend the copper, don't the dots fall off?
That's what I'm getting ready to show you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's
I'm
say
your
that-
straight man.
Let's say that this piece right here, I'm going to put a row of dots on it. Okay? You're going to make me untie this, aren't you? Okay. I'm going to put dots on this. My idea. Lay it down. Put your holes in it. Whatever pattern, whatever you want to do. Lay it out. Go down through there putting your holes. That way you can take and measure, put them in the right spot, make them dimensional, put a pattern in it, whatever. Got it all done. As I said, when you go to messing with it, you put the tempering back in it. Take the torch, burn it out again. You got all your holes in it, you got it nice and soft. You put it in there. You put your top on it. Finish your bowl. Do all the cutting and everything that you do, but leave the copper alone. Don't mess with the copper. Now, real slow and easy. Mix up a little batch of epoxy. Do as many of them as you can. Let it sit for a few minutes and stick. Turn it a little bit. Do some more. That's where that bottle cap comes in. Keep working around it. Keep working around it. But you want to make sure that you've got everything done, because you don't want to hit the steel wool onto those pieces. You want to have everything done. Put those little copper beads in the very last thing you do. Once you've got all of that done, lacquer it and you're done. Is that?
Could you drill the holes once you finish the bowl? While it's already glued in, right like that? Now put it on the lathe and then drill the hole.
You could do it if you're good.
Can you repeat the question?
He wanted to know if you could, he wanted to know if I could have this on the lathe and then drill the holes in it and then put it on there. Yeah, you could do that if you're good at it. But to me, I've always had it laid out so that I knew where I had a center line. I guess if you had it on the lathe and put a line on it, yeah, you could do it. I don't see why you're not. I just always did it this way.
Gene, when you glue your pieces of wood together to make a segmented ring, what kind of glue do you prefer to use?
I use Tidy Bond. I've got Tidy Bond 2 and 1 and 2, whichever one I just happens to be in my way.
Another question?
Hey, Gene, when you put the copper in, do you put glue on the copper also, or do you leave it free floating in there?
When I put it together, okay, I've got my piece in here. When I get this everywhere I want it, I've got it right to where I want it. I got my high-powered technical piece of equipment. I've got it on there. You've got an edge right here, because this piece is going to come down and sit on this piece. Go all the way around it with glue. So when you squish this down on there, the glue will go in behind the copper, it'll be on here, and it'll be on here. That way, I've tried putting glue in there and then putting this, well, okay, I had troubles getting this together. Well, now I got problems with my glue, So I've just got to where I leave everything just like that, go around my edge, glue it very good, then put this on, and then when I put my clamps on here to clamp it down, the glue will come out on the inside. It can't come out here, but it's glued to the metal and both pieces of wood. Does that sound?
Another question. How do you keep the glue from spilling out onto the copper?
It'll be, if you'll notice, there's probably 1/4 of an inch that the copper is sticking up. So like I said, if you go around right at the base of the bowl, around the edge on the copper, and then you push down on this, it's going to run, it can't go that way because it hits copper. So it's got to go the other direction. Am I making sense? Huh? Yeah. Because I make this groove pretty deep. Now, you can even probably put some glue in here if you want, but I was always afraid, which I have done, I end up with copper glue on the inside here that I've got to get taken off. And if you'll notice, okay, you can see how this is sticking above the wood. The copper is. If you'll notice, there. See how it's smooth all the way across? So when this goes down on there, that 1/4 of an inch is up in here. So if it squishes down glue, it can't squish it to the outside because it hits the copper. It goes to the inside. Then you can just sand off the inside.
Okay. So I guess I'm missing part of the process here. It seems to me that if you put glue in the groove and then turn it upside down, the glue would run down into the copper.
But it would run down, a lot of times it would run down on the face of your copper. Then you've got to clean that off.
Right.
This way, if it's on the flat.
Oh, okay. That's what I missed.
Yeah,
Okay.
you put it on the flat up next to the copper, all the way around.
Okay. Thank you.
And then when you put this on, it'll squish to the inside. No?
Any other questions? Oh, here we go.
Gene, you mentioned burning the copper with some oil, but I'm not sure if I caught what kind of oil do you use when you burn the copper?
You can use anything. Old motor oil, 3-in-1 oil. You can take, comes in a spray can, everybody uses it on everything. Thank you.
WD-40.
You could use anything that's oil based because it will burn. And once it burns, it leaves back the carbon, which is what was down in the grooves of those pieces. Yeah, you can use anything. 3-in-1 oil, like I said, just anything that's oil based. Yeah.
Somebody else have a question? Okay.
How much time we got? Where we at?
Another question. Let me get there.
So you detemper the copper with heat, and then when you work it with some tools, some tempering comes back, and you can detemper it again, and you can keep doing that.
Yes.
Now, you don't want to do that after you've put on epoxy or something else, because you would ruin that.
No.
But if you want to get it more flexible again, and you haven't done the finishing on it you want to do, you can detemper again.
Yeah. You can reheat it and temper it or reheat it as many times you want. But that's what I'm saying. If you're wanting to do something on here, when you put this together, this is your last time. I mean, when I take and put this down on here, I put my glue and I slap this piece down. You're done with the copper except for just cleaning it up. You're done with it. That's it. It's over. So if you've got it real stiff and you're having troubles getting it together, you better take it off real careful. And, run it through the heat again, get it soft, then put it back on there. I've bent this piece enough time, I can already feel it's starting to get a little stiff. And what'll happen if you get it too stiff, this edge, that where you're putting the copper down in it, you'll break that edge off. Trust me.
Maybe 5 more minutes or whatever.
How much?
5.
Okay. I got a couple minutes left. I don't know if I can really do too much. Let me think a minute. Let me get rid of some stuff. One of the things I was going to show you, if we had time, Jerry, he said, I think you said you did some pieces today with copper? Okie dokie. Well, I use jars, bags. I use a little bit of everything. This is turquoise that I come up with quite a bit of big pieces of turquoise. I've still got a big bottle of big pieces of turquoise. Now, some of the turquoise we got from a gentleman a long time ago that was part Native American. But anyway, they made jewelry, and he got us a whole bunch of little stuff. Well, I ran out of it. Well, I come up with these big pieces. Home Depot special. A cap. Oh, there's still some in there. Piece of pipe. An old bolt. Grind off the edges. Put it down in there. Beat the heck out of it. You've got to have I left some places on this one. You can see right there at the end of my finger, maybe a little chip. If you're going to use any of this stuff, you got to have some fine stuff. You try to use big stuff like this aluminum shavings. This works good in a way. I like to use this and mix it with epoxy clear, and it leaves kind of a sparklies in it. But if you take this take this stuff and put it in that crack right there, and then you take CA glue, you will stain those 4 pieces of wood. You will not get that stain out of there. It's there for here and there. But if you take, thought I had a spot. Anyway, if you take a spot right there, and you put lacquer on here, a couple coats on it, good. Then put this on there, then drop your CA glue on it, then you can sand it down. Yeah, anything to seal that wood. I think someone said earlier, I think it was Gary, about putting what you put on after you put the CA glue on it.
Accelerator.
Thank you. Putting the accelerator on there and then doing it. That works. I don't know, I've never done it. But anything to seal that wood. Because once that CA glue hits that wood, that goes into those pores, it's there. There's no taking it out. That's just a quick few questions.
Questions?
Gene, when you're cutting the copper, how do you get it the same width from one end to the other? Do you have anything that measures it, or you just patience?
Let's say I'm going to take that piece. Okay? I find the center up here. An old box opener. That's what this is used for. You make a mark. come down at the other end, and if you take a piece of tape and put it across there, and you move it down to here, now you know that this mark and that mark are in the same spot. Take a piece of string and put it across there. You put a clamp on it real carefully. Go straight down that string. You'll leave a mark. Do it after you take the tempering out. You can leave it, you can do it before, but part of your mark may disappear. But take your tempering out, find your center on both ends, take a piece of string, bring it down, clamp it off, and go straight down it. Another thing I use is level. I take my level a lot of times because a lot of the pipe I use is half inch. Well, I can take that piece of half inch down and lay it down on the edge of my level, be at an angle, and I can clamp it down with my hand and go right along that edge of that level and make myself a mark. I use a lot of technical tools. You see that, huh?
Any more questions? Oh, here we go. Got one over here.
How will your finish affect the copper?
It won't. It'll coat it. If you use, I've used lacquer. I've used shellac, poly. I've never seen it do anything one way or the other. But you've got to put something on there. If you don't, it won't happen today. It won't happen tomorrow. But down the road, it's like some pieces of wood will turn colors. You know, just by the sunshine. Osage orange is one of them. You can cut that piece of Osage orange and it's bright yellow in the middle of it. Leave it sitting out for a while. It'll turn brown.
Another question?
I'm betting we all have this question, but I'm the only one stupid enough to ask it. Instead of getting a nice piece of Schedule 40 3/4 inch pipe and marking it carefully, taking the temper out, then marking it carefully, cutting it, straightening it out, banging it with a hammer, flattening it, working on the edges, getting exactly what you want, can you just buy a flat piece of copper?
Yes, you can. You sure can. I will advise you to take a couple of aspirin before you took and look at the price.
Gene, what tool do you use to cut down along the length of the copper pipe?
You mean when I'm splitting it like? Yes. Well, I brought everything to do it. I thought, well, you don't want to sit here and watch me cut pipe. Plain old everyday Dremel. I do use these. They're little grinding stones. These are the best I've found, and they've got a tip that goes on there. And when, I didn't say if, I said when you break it, you just pull down, pull the piece off, put this piece back on, you're back in business. But now, I don't know how many were watching, but you notice how I took a little piece at a time and worked back to where I already had a slot. If you take and you try to run into that, then you're going to be putting a new stone on. try doing it with the temper in there, you'll be a while. Oh, and don't touch it when you do that. You hear how the tone changes as I go down through there? Come on. You can see how these edges are rolled up. That's the first thing you want to work on. Retemper it, it's ready to go. Now, that big long piece I sent around, if you don't do what he was talking about, if you cut that thing crooked and you lay it out, this thing's going to go this way. Go down here on this end on the high side, right along the edge. Start beating that edge. What you're doing is you're pushing that metal to the other side, and it will start to straighten out. Just cut it straight in the first one, you won't have that problem. Is that? Well, I hope I
More questions?
gave you a little insight.